Hello, I'm Hannah, and this is Hannah's Books. Although I've been a very sporadic Booktube viewer for the last few months, even I have run across an enormous number of channels answering the interesting questions of the Tell Me the Truth tag, created by the relatively new booktuber Shannon at the channel Shannon's Bookish Musings and Music. Check out her video and also her lovely thank you follow-up. I was tagged by a booktuber I have loved as a commenter even before she started her own channel, Heather Gregg. And when I made a comment on a version of the tag done by the lovely Curtis at CurtisBooksandFilms, a channel that's new to me, he was kind enough to tag me too. Thank you both. Let's get straight to the questions. The first one, do your friends, family, coworkers, etc. know about your booktube channel? If so, do they watch? My spouse watches every video and very occasionally comments. My son watches whenever he's home and we force him to. He's quite a talented video editor and actually is a professional sound guy too, so he very kindly kind of rolls his eyes gently at how homespun my videos are. I haven't hidden the fact that I have a booktube channel from other friends, but many of my closest family members and friends, people I spend time with in real life or on Facebook, don't hear much about it, and many may not remember that I make videos regularly. On the other hand, I'm always surprised by how many people I know less well do watch somewhat regularly. One woman whose son went to violin camp with my son when they were young is now a big fancy author, and I'm proud to call her a friend and incredibly honored that she watches. My spouse David's lovely work friend watches pretty regularly, she says, which pleases me to no end, partly because it still surprises me so much. And one more story about a family member who watches. This one requires some setup. Occasionally I record myself presenting a short story aloud. I feel most comfortable reading stories by Southern authors, particularly because that kind of story is often written with a strong sense of orality or storytelling, and therefore it's often quite nice to read aloud. It's also because of my own Southern accent. My spouse and her son sometimes tease me about the fact that when I read something aloud to them where a character speaks with an accent, any kind of accent, from Russian to Pakistani, from German to Senegalese, when I read it, it sounds totally Southern. Anyway, a couple of the stories I've read on this channel are by Flannery O'Connor. One of them has gone a bit viral, partly because it's a story that's apparently still taught widely in both high school and college. I'll link to it below. And a few teachers seem to have shared the video with their students. That is incredibly flattering. And shortly after I put the video up, there was a documentary about Flannery O'Connor that aired on public television. Lots of folks seem to have found the video because of the renewed interest in her work sparked by that show. One of the people who stumbled across the video was, wildly, one of my spouse's cousins. I don't think he would have had any reason to know it was me when he first clicked on it. Although I didn't realize it, it turns out he's pretty bookish and has quite a number of authors in his circle of acquaintances and friends over the course of his life. If we're ever at a Passover Seder together again, I can't wait to chat with him about what we've each read recently. Still, I have a lot of friends, including bookish friends, who don't watch, or at least don't watch regularly. But that's fair. Two of my closest pals have a podcast about baseball, and I very rarely listen to their episodes, despite the fact that I love these two women. And while I don't care at all about baseball, I do love their humor, and now I feel guilty and will go listen. Okay, question 2. When watching booktube videos, do you ever speed them up to save time? Occasionally, usually only when my spouse is watching with me and he suggests it. As you might have noticed, if you don't speed up videos yourself, I am very slow of speech. I'm also rather slow of thought, so it's usually enough work to keep up with y'all, even at normal speed. In fact, the first time I tried adjusting that speed button on a YouTube video back 4 years ago or so was for Katie at the channel Books and Things. I didn't speed her up, I slowed her down. She spoke so quickly and had so much to say that I wanted to absorb. I think she slows her own videos down now after realizing how many viewers were doing just what I was doing. Incidentally, I don't mind it at all if people choose to speed me up. I'm sure most of you must, even if you listen to other booktubers at normal speed. Actually, a fair number of you have commented that you don't speed me up, but instead turn out the lights and use my slowness to put you to sleep. I think that is supposed to be a compliment. Number 3. Do you watch videos from all the booktubers you subscribe to? All of their videos or just some? Well, if I could figure out how to do everything I need to do and still have plenty of time, I absolutely would watch them all. But I very much don't, especially right now, when we have some difficult things happening in our household, which I've talked about elsewhere. I subscribe to a lot of channels with every intention to watch at least some of their videos, but I often don't even find time right now to watch some of my oldest favorites. And when I do, it's often so late after the videos have been posted that I don't leave comments. My apologies. I really do hope to do better soon. Question 4. Do you subscribe to everyone who subscribes to you, or only channels you really want to see? I don't really know who subscribes to me, but if I did, I would definitely subscribe. If you watch my channel and have a bookish channel of your own that you know I don't subscribe to, please let me know. Getting to know each other is what makes Booktube such a special community. But again, no guarantees that I'll actually watch regularly for a little while. The 5th question. Do you subscribe to booktubers based more on content or personality? What an interesting question. I think the answer is both. I often investigate new channels because the booktuber reads books that interest me or talks about books in ways that intrigue me. But there are also booktubers who often read books I don't have any interest in at all, but who have ways of talking about their bookish life that bring me joy. Perhaps the most obvious example in that category is Criminale. I love his personality and his presentation style, his calmness, but his excitement and his humor. But our tastes on particular books are really quite different. And the last substantive question. Do you listen to booktube videos while doing other things, or do you sit and watch the video? Although I would love to listen to booktube videos while cooking, I'm a little bit hard of hearing and I have trouble paying attention if there's background noise, which there is when I'm chopping or something sizzling or boiling or whatever. I do often knit while I'm watching, or fold laundry on the couch, and sometimes I just listen with the lights out right before I go to sleep. Fundamentally, I really have a one-track mind and have trouble doing any serious multitasking. The idea of doing some of my own writing or editing while watching Booktube, which I think Steve Donahue does, would be absolutely impossible for me. Finally, the last prompt is to tag some booktubers. I was planning to tag Roz at Scally-Daddling About the Books in honor of her return after a brief Booktube break. But I'm thrilled to see she's just done the tag this morning. But I will tag Daniel at Guilty Feet, and I'll tag Ann Novella, who I don't think has done it yet, and Lindy at Lindy's Magpie Reads, both in very belated welcome to Booktube. And I'll also tag a few of Booktube's old-timers who've been on this platform longer than I have. Sean the Book Maniac, Jen at Remembered Reads, and Doris at All to Books. I don't think any of you have done this tag yet, but my apologies if I've just missed your video. Thank you, Shannon, for creating this tag that really gets to the heart of how we watch Booktube. I'm not sure I would have guessed how much diversity of opinion there is about our watching styles. Thanks to Heather and Curtis for tagging me, and thanks to all of you for joining me today. See you soon here on Hannah's Books.